Let's start with the latest on the summit of the century. The list of U.S. officials flying with their commander-in-chief to Singapore for that historic event is more or less complete. And even before the maiden Pyongyang-Washington summit took place, already there are reports of preparations for a follow-up meeting between the two leaders. Lee Ji-won has our top story.
U.S. President Donald Trump has hinted that his June 12th summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un may not finish in one sitting. That sentiment seems to be backed up by preparations being made for a second day of talks. CNN reported Thursday, citing two sources familiar with the matter, that U.S. officials have laid the groundwork for a second day of meetings if the two leaders decide to continue their talks. The news network added that a White House spokesman declined to comment on the matter. There's also been reports on the possibility of a second summit. Citing a U.S. official, Bloomberg reports that Trump is toying with the idea of offering Kim a follow-up summit at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida. It's said the second summit could even happen in the fall, depending on how the two leaders hit it off at their meeting in Singapore. President Trump had invited other global counterparts to his Mar-a-Lago resort, including Chinese President Xi Jinping and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, for a retreat-like summit. Meanwhile, Bloomberg also reported on the list of U.S. officials who will be joining President Trump on Air Force One to Singapore. The list includes Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, White House Chief of Staff John Kelly, and even National Security Advisor John Bolton. Bolton, the administration's main hardliner on Pyongyang, was the main reason for North Korea's hostility and harsh rhetoric a few weeks ago, even prompting the regime to question whether to hold a summit. Bloomberg said the delegation also tentatively includes the head of CIA's Korea Mission Center, Andrew Kim, National Security Council official Allison Hooker, and White House Deputy Chief of Staff Joe Hagan. Hooker and Hagan were part of the two teams that have been negotiating with the North at the inter-Korean border village of Panmunjom and in Singapore for the past few days. Bolton's inclusion comes as officials at the State Department believe he controversially suggested North Korea's denuclearization should follow the Libya model to disrupt talks with the regime. Citing multiple sources, CNN reports that Bolton intentionally angered the North to, quote, blow up the summit because he feared the meeting would not end up working in Washington's favor. Those remarks reportedly led to considerable tension between Bolton and Pompeo. However, the National Security Council denies there was any confrontation between the two officials at the heart of Trump's inner circle. Lee Ji-won, Arirang News.